Hello. Hopefully things are working well on the audio side. I've done a little patented late right before stream troubleshooting. Hopefully it works. But welcome. Hopefully we'll get some others tuned in here. But yeah, welcome to another Shiny Dev Series live stream. I was not here last week because I was knee deep in the Appsilon Shiny conference, which was a ton of fun. But yeah, now I'm in the Shiny workshop mode for the next probably quite a few streams going forward, with a little random stuff thrown here and there. But yeah, it's getting the crunch time, even though it's just started to hit May. Workshops in July, so it's about 2.5 or so months away. So gotta start making some progress and yeah, making this as best I can be and explore some newer stuff that I learned from the conference maybe tonight as well. We shall see. It's always ambitious when we start. But special hello to Unicorn Coder. Welcome. Glad you're here. Looks like you made some nice contributions already for me on my workshop project. We're gonna look at that shortly. Let's get some hydration in before we get going here. Hey, recursive acronym, how are ya? I haven't forgotten about our little adventure that we want to do hopefully soon with the pair programming with Shiny. I'm hoping I can ping you on that on Discord to get that set up with you, because I think that could be a ton of fun. So yeah, welcome, glad you're here. So let's dive right into it. Yeah, all the fun stuff happens on the Discord. So if you're new here, if you're lurking and you want to know what the heck we're talking about, there's a link right there where you can join our merry group of our enthusiasts, data science enthusiasts, and renegade streamers like me. So but yeah, oh yeah, that's right, recursive acronym. You've got a busy set of work going on for your studies, so good luck with that. I remember those days all too well. In fact, that may be a segment later on if you all want to hear about some adventures I had in those days. So let's get things set up here. All right, so that is yeah, well, it always works our way in here somewhere, Unicorn Coder. It always does. So, okay. Well, let's take a look here at my GitHub. And now this technically is kind of a private-ish repo for now. I'm giving some of you direct access as I start to put this through the paces. Eventually, I'll make it all public, but I'm in one of those stages where things are very rough around the edges. I'm probably gonna rip things out or try radical things, so that's why I'm not sure if I want to embarrass myself by the whole public seeing my workshop exploits. But we're gonna take a look. If I can get VS Code up here, let's do our appearance tweaks here before we go further. Zoom in. Resize things a bit. I was doing some interesting stuff with troubleshooting. We'll get to the database stuff in a little bit. That is not in the repo yet, but let me just close out some stuff here. And let's take a look. And then get a terminal set up here. Yep, everything is lickety split there. So by the way, I think I fixed my music audio woes. If you can't hear it, let me know, but I did a test recording and it looks like it's finally showing up. I probably got too fancy with everything a few months ago and I probably broke one thing that I can't quite fix the way I want. Yep, that's what I want. We'll go with this randomish set of tracks for now, but I can always pivot to the patented stream playlist that I have on my local drive if we really get going here. So Now, Unicorn Coder, I have not seen what you've contributed yet in terms of like what the render looks like, so why not do it live? That's how we roll here. So, I believe the syntax is Quarto preview, and this should mean the current directory, I think. Let's find out. Okay. Let's see. Oh my! Oh, this is gonna be fun. Let me get this somewhat full view here. You even rigged a shiny brain in. I love it. Not sure if we'll be able to plug shiny brain in it, but hey, it's great to see the logo. I love it. But yeah, I think this is very basic. I like the dark theme already. I know in Quarto there is a way to let you toggle between light and dark theme, and I may end up doing that once we get things more finalized, because during the workshop itself, some people might like the brighter version, but for streaming, of course, I'm gonna keep the dark version in here. Yes, yeah, as we mentioned earlier, the Discord is where all the action is. But yeah, I'm gonna take a look at this. Let me see if I missed it. Okay, I don't see a link you put in my channel, but if you put it somewhere else. Oh, in the source code. Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. Alright, well, let's take a look at what we have here. Okay, that's the index. This is the about. Yep. Perfect. And that. Put it here. Ah, there we are. Okay, yep, I got it now in the YAML file. Oh, thank you for setting this up. Oh, this is terrific. Yeah, you've got all the placeholders here that we're gonna tweak here eventually. But no, I think this is an awesome start. Like this is perfect. Oh, we have a newish viewer here who I've talked with on the on Yuka's stream, but special welcome, Fractal Dream. I can't say it out loud, Will, but I've caught you on Yuka's stream in the audience, so welcome. Glad you could be here. We're doing some Quarto website building and going to explore some data for my upcoming Shiny workshop, and maybe some exploration of a new package I heard about at the conference, because I've been asked to give my opinion on it by a very well-respected source, so we'll probably get that. Hello, Dr. Daniel, how are you? Yes, we are about to do some exploring. Let's show Daniel the page, of course, yeah. This is Unicorn Coder's already been hard at work for me getting the basics of the workshop site set up for me with Quarto. So we've got a nice little landing page here. It's got the overview of the course, and then got the about page, which I'm sure we'll tweak eventually. But I'm going to start putting more narrative around this in particular, because I need to start. I've been encouraged by Mina and the RStudio workshop team to start plugging this on the various social media channels and everything, so I gotta tidy things up a little bit of what I want to teach. So, but this is an awesome start, so I'm really liking it. Portal's been a lot of fun to play with so far, so I am on the Quarto train. I am firmly in the passenger row and about to drive it a bit for this workshop prep. So, looking great. We're gonna maybe go back to this stuff in a little bit, but I do wanna the things that are kind of like, you know, when I look at all the tasks in this workshop, it can be a little overwhelming of all I have to do. But if I take it kind of the key steps in the beginning, let's get those nailed down first, and I think the rest is going to kind of, you know, follow suit. So the first major task that I've outlined in terms of my unofficial priority is what is the unifying example or set of examples, and in particular the data we want to use in this app to kind of mimic a real world-ish setting that I often do in my day job, or if I see others do. And obviously the data that we're going to use in this is a big part. So I'm going to show you all what I've been exploring up to this point. But I've seen some great links from Daniel and Tan and others in the Discord on other ones to explore. So we'll just kind of have fun looking a bit and maybe finding a set of candidates to go forward with. So let's go to my little script here for exploring the data. The first data I'm going to explore with all of you, the one that I've been most pursuing lately is, sorry, I'll get the dark mode going here. Alright, that should do it. We're going to zoom in. So this data that I'm talking about, that I thought was kind of interesting in my searching a couple nights ago, was about purchases made by customers for the Instacart service. And Instacart is a way for people to order groceries and have someone else, I believe, pick those up and deliver to them. But I could be wrong on that. Maybe Instacart's something different. I never actually used it. But I saw this come through in a couple of my searches that the Instacart organization had released an open sourced a bunch of anonymized purchasing data from their service. And when I mean a little bit of data, I actually mean a ton of it. Over 3 million orders from more than 200,000 users. So that's big data. That's pretty neat. And the reason I was interested in some bigger data as well is because I was when I was talking with the rstudio team about doing this workshop, they really wanted me to showcase the power of Shiny interacting with databases. So of course I'm going to use a database. I want to go big with it. I want to host something that has a lot of records so that we can show that when you build an app the right way, that you can explore high dimensional data quite easily in a Shiny app with the proper controls in front of it. So luckily through the searching, I was able to get the data sets. There's a few different tables, if you will, and they're all in CSV files. So what I've done is I've downloaded those. I've spun up a Postgres database container in my fancy schmancy container setup. And now I have a Postgres database ready to go to start kind of taking a look at this as I think about, is this kind of worthwhile for creating an app from it. Now one thing that was helpful is that the data set itself didn't have very much in terms of explanations, but I did find this nice dictionary of sorts from, I'm not sure if it was one of their employees or enthusiasts there, put that in the chat, but this is actually a description of the different data sets, and this is from 2017, so it is about 5 years old, but I don't really care about age here. I just care about having some interesting data to play with. So there are about 6 or 7 or so data sets, and I may not use all of them, but they all kind of have a different purpose. Like the orders data set, that's the biggest one. This is 3.4 million rows, and it's got a little bit about the identifier, if it was a sequence of orders, when it was ordered, day since a prior order, but then let's see, that only tells a little bit of the story, but then you got to link that to actually what did they order. So that's where I'm going to jump around here. They have a variation of order products where for each order ID they give you the product ID, which will then map to this table up here where it actually would be the product itself. Maybe it's like fruit or oatmeal or whatever. Even what aisles they're a part of. I don't know if that's a website thing or what, and what department they're in. So there's a lot of interesting things here. But they've given us a few different of these product sets. One is called the prior set. That's not a prior in terms of Bayesian analysis. I got confused about that when I first read it, but orders prior to that user's most recent order. So I guess it's kind of like what happened just before their most recent one. And then they actually did a Kaggle competition about this. So they had a training set and a test set. I don't really care about the test set. I may be just more interested in the training set, and then literally just doing a very basic model outside the app, but then have some kind of prediction model that the app is going to basically be a front end for. And whether that's a very basic recommender system, like what Tan has been telling me about in the Discord, or if we do something different, either way, we got a lot of data to play with here. So I feel like there's a lot of interesting things we can do with this on its own. But I want to keep an open mind. There might be some other ones that could be just as valuable here. But yes, support vector machines, as Unicorn Coder is indicating. There are lots of different things we can do with this, and I don't really care that much about what that method is, because I'm not duplicating the fine workshop that Max Kuhn and Julia Silge are going to be leading with a tidy modeling workshop. I'm just doing something so that I can kind of tie in all these different pieces together. So we can just take a quick look at the data in terms of what the actual records look like, just as a sample. So this will be stuff that is going in the workshop eventually. Is okay, how do you connect the databases from R so that your Shiny app can serve that? And we're going to do a Postgres database. And right now, that is actually inside a container. Let's get real geeky here for a second, and let's take a look at what that spec of that container looks like. This technique called Docker Compose is such an awesome way to network different containers together that are kind of related to each other. So what we have here is we got a VS Code container, which you're seeing me literally working right now. We got a workshop DB container, which all it is a Postgres container. I literally only had to set up one environment variable for a password, which again will be certainly something that's more secure when I launch the workshop, but it's there. And then this is my RStudio container, where if I want to pivot to RStudio for the same project, I can quickly launch that on my web browser. So I've got all three here, but both the RStudio one and the VS Code one are able to interact with this workshop container without any problem at all. That's just what's kind of magic to me. So that's what this is about. We're gonna connect to this database here. And let me first close out the preview here. Let's get the R terminal here. Get rid of this. We'll start kind of taking a look at what we have here. See how fast that connection is. This is all local, so it's all very straightforward. And let's look at our tables here. So I've loaded every data set that I had access to, and right now that's about 6 of them. I don't have a test set, but I could care less about that. So I've actually done this step already. I've written all these as tables in the database. I don't have to run that again, but we can start actually exploring things. So with tidyverse packaging like dplyr and dbplyr, we can actually explore that data pretty easily, but we're first going to set up our connections to that. So let's see, make sure no errors there. Yep, just the package there. Great question, Unicorn Coder. Let's spotlight that. Are we cleaning data first before the user gets it? Now, in my very initial explorations here, the data looks pretty clean already, but we're gonna definitely do some analysis on that eventually to see if there is any issues we need to deal with. So if I want to take a look at that orders DB, we can just print that to the console here. What's nice about having this in a database is that this is not going to try and access all 3 point whatever million rows. It's just going to give us a glance at it for the first 10 rows so we can get a feel for what is happening here. I think there will be some data munging I have to do, or at least some addendums to the data when it comes to the time of the order, the day of the order, because I think the coding they do in here is kind of cryptic, so I may want to look at that a little bit. But the rest of it looks fairly straightforward here. Let's take a look at the products database as well. This is where you start to kind of get a feel for what's involved in this. And this data set's not that big. It's just got maybe a few thousand rows or so. This is where for each product ID we get a product name, whatever this aisle is, and whatever department it is. So we can start taking a look at what those other data sets. I was going to say either cookies in aisle 10 or cleanup in aisle 10, depending if my kids were around. That's another story waiting to happen, but luckily not in the store, but more at home. Alright, let's take a look at the aisles set has. So we're just kind of having fun here. Tibble, fun, aisles. Alright, let's see what we got there. This one's a much smaller set, but it's basically for each aisle ID. We have various different types of things there, just like a real grocery store in essence. What else do we have? We have departments. Let's take a look at that. And let's see what this gives us. Okay, so this is very straightforward if you've been to any of these stores. I'm sure many have. We got the frozen section, bakery, international, drinks, dry goods, and for your favorite pets out there, we have a lot of dog fans. I'm sure I'm more of a cat person myself, but I don't have any cats. But oh yeah, welcome, Pneumatocyst. I hope I'm saying that right, but you got a good question. You're asking, what is the benefit of using TBO explicitly rather than something like a Tibble? Is it reducing reliance on packages, or is there something else? So, good question. So this is actually more having to do with interacting with data that's stored in a database table. So if we want to take a look at this, you can actually use this on any data object, but what's nice about the way it can take a data source is that data source can come from a lot of different places. So in this case, the source is this connection, this Postgres connection. So all this is really saying is that rather than me having to type some raw SQL code till I get a glance at this data set, that I can feed this connection and convert it into a object that resembles a Tibble, as in Tibble, but instead of like loading all the records, it's more of a pointer to kind of a snapshot of the records. So what is interesting when you do this is that when you print this in the console here, in a normal Tibble, you would have the number of rows already defined for you. Like it would already know that. But because this is a Postgres connection in a database, it actually isn't trying to grab all the rows right now. So only when I grab something and then collect it, and there's a function called collect, will it actually form a tibble that you're used to with a data frame, or in-memory data that you're analyzing in your R script. So this is a quick way for me to just get a high-level overview of this set without actually bogging down my system's memory along the way. Yeah, and it's not so much Postgres itself. This is for any database, but it sounds like you have to deal with Excel. And yes, I share the pain. I've been down that road. Luckily, I haven't been so much lately, but I know the pain there. You need all the help you can get when you have to deal with Excel and R or Python, whatever data science language you're using. So, apartments looks pretty good. Let's look at this order products prior, because that one might need some cleaning. I don't know. PD. Products. Prior. Alright. Got it. Order products prior. Okay, so we got order ID, product ID, add to cart, order. Okay, so this is order ID 2, and then this is a sequence of how it was ordered. I'm not sure what reordered means, but at least now for each product ID, we're adding that to the cart. So you would obviously join that by the product data frame or data set, so that you could get what the actual name of the product is that they're ordering here. So far it looks pretty clean at first glance, although I haven't inspected everything yet. I'd imagine the train one's going to be similar, but we might as well, just for completeness, look at that at a glance, and then we'll kind of go from there. Oh, we got some friendly faces coming back. Tan, hello, welcome. And David Jackson, glad you're here. And by the way, David, I know you like to work with databases a lot. I'm actually looking at that right now tonight as part of my prep work for the Shiny workshop I'm about to do. I've got data loaded in the Postgres data set or database container. So I'm just having fun looking at some grocery shopping data from Instacart. Let's get this going here. It shouldn't look any different. It's just going to be different records. But yeah, okay. So it's very, very similar. Okay. So again, at very high level glance, this looks good. I think I missed something here. Let me catch up here. Daniel's coming at me with some Python questions. So how familiar am I of installing things with Python? I'm thinking about installing Radiant for VS Code R stuff using pipx. I don't know if that's a good idea since I never see people use it. Now, do you mean Radiant itself, or do you mean this pipx stuff? Radiant seems to be catching on a bit in terms of like an alternative terminal for R. So I mean, I only use it in the context of VS Code. I'll be honest, I don't use it at the day job. I think it's got some nice features to it. I mean, I really like the tab completion. I kind of like the concise output of it, but I really just use it because the VS Code R extension authors literally, I wouldn't say they mandated it, but they were very, very firm about that you're going to have a much better time with that terminal than the default one. Yeah, Radiant itself, okay. Okay, so yeah, I'm not familiar with pipx, so I can't comment much there, but again, one reason I like the container setup here, if we go back to my Docker file here for this particular container, is that Radian is very easy to install once I get the Python environment set up. I just do pip3 install Radian, and it's literally plug and play there afterwards once I set my dev container setup to map where it's installed. So after I spun up the container, I did some searching in the terminal, and I figured out that's where Radian's being installed as root. So then I just simply append these settings in VS Code to these options, and then everything just kind of magically works right away. So it's been pretty easy to use once I got it all set up. So at least in this case it works well, but I haven't really used it anywhere else outside of this VS Code stuff. All right, so Unicorn Coder, you had a good comment about maybe using a sample of these data frames just to get a better feel for it. Now, is that... I'm going to embarrass myself a bit, but let's see. I think that comes from dplyr. Sample n and sample... Oh, slice sample. Let's see what this does. Okay, slice sample randomly selects rows. So I wonder if we can do this with kind of like the database tables that we have here. We can give it a shot. Why don't we sample like 1,000 rows from the which one do I want to sample from? Maybe this order products prior DB, just to get a feel for what that has. And then because we're dealing with a database pointer, we have to collect it. Just gonna save this as an object just in case. Okay, it's definitely crunching through. This is at the step where it's starting to bring some of that into memory, so I don't, hopefully I didn't hose my system here doing it, but that's something I'll have to think about. If we do this in Shiny, making sure that we don't put the user in a situation where a query could take a really long... Okay, that was about 10 seconds or so, not horrible. Well, let's see what that gave us. Order explore. Yep, it is. Now this should not print all the records. Let's hope not. Yep. Okay, but what? Only one row. That does not make sense. Oh. Wow, okay. That is bizarre. Why would it... Why in the world would it do that? Well, I thought... Oh, okay, well, maybe, yeah, I probably have to name the argument. Yeah, let's try that again. No, I was too greedy with the naming there. Let's try that again. That's funny. That was learning on the fly here. Alright, let that process a bit. We'll save this before we forget. Okay, crunching through. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's check out what that... Yeah, okay, now we're in business. So we got 1,000 rows. So again, back to the question a few minutes ago, unlike when I was printing out the result of this object, the connection pointer in here, because I collected everything, now it knows we have 1,000 rows in this particular set. So now where it's in memory, we can explore this a bit. Let's see. Let's take a look at what we have here. And again, I'm not really doing any sophisticated analysis right now. I'm just making sure that the data looks, you know, fairly clean. But it looks like here, most of the records here are very have like values inside. I don't see a lot of missing here. And it's all integer based at the moment. The one downside of this data set is it does not have like actual cost of the products when they were ordered. So I can't really do a lot with pricing, but maybe I could find that information somewhere. But ideally the criteria for these numbers should be positive integers, I think, because it should start like 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So you wouldn't want to see negative numbers here. Reorder that might be a boolean of like 0 or 1s, I would guess. Gonna give a glimpse of this just to see what we have here. Order ID, product ID, add to cart order, reordered. Yeah, we can definitely do a summary of the add to cart order. See what we got there. Yep. Minimum's 1. Yep, that makes sense. We don't have anything lower than that, and then we got a max of 42. But yeah, actually this is a good time for Unicorn Coder's got a great recommendation here of the janitor package. Let's throw that in, shall we? Let's throw that in. I don't think I have it already in the container, but let's throw it in there. Yep, got that. I have a kind of a rather simpler way of tracking my dependencies in the project. I'm using a dependencies R script where I just kind of put library statements of all the packages I'm using, and RM is immediately picking this up so that it'll lock and put it in the log file when I do a snapshot. So let's snapshot that. Yep, throw that in there. Okay, cool. So you were recommending Unicorn Coder the table function. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but let's do that. Or the explore. Let's see what we got there. Error if calling on a data.frame. Oh, okay. I need to do more than that. See, I didn't read the manual, everybody. Yeah, I need to do a variable on it. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I get it now. We want to do this on the that reordered. Let's do that. There we go. Yep, so we got pretty balanced here, but at least it's not anything out of the ordinary, so that's good. That's good. This is just going to be a positive integer, and this is just product IDs. So let's do something similar to this with the maybe the products data set. We could look at that again. I should probably do a document about this, but I'm just set of my ways of just doing a script. What I call this products DB. There may not be more than 1,000 rows here, but let's... Oh yeah, that was super quick. Let's just see what we got here. No, we did get 1,000 rows, okay. So we only have 4 columns. We got the ID, the product name, IO ID, and department ID. We definitely want to make sure that for each product ID we have a product name. So what's an easy way to... It's been a while since I've done these things, but is there a way to detect any missing values quickly? I can do a filter, I guess. So let's just do that. It's not an A. Product name. Let's see anything there. Nope, no rows there. So that's okay. So that's an encouraging sign. Out of 1,000 rows I sampled, there are no missing records of product names, so I'll be able to always grab that. Then IO ID and department ID, I believe, are hopefully straightforward. We can do that same janitor table function, but we'll just look at let's explore department ID. Let's kind of see what that gives us. Yep. Okay. So we got integers for each of them, and it looks like whatever product or department 19 is, that's the bulk of the... Oh, actually 11 has a lot too. So, okay. Seems pretty clean. Pretty clean so far. So, that's encouraging. Just have to think about what the app wants to do with this. You could kind of mimic a shopping site almost. You could let the user quickly search for a department, what are the different products that have been ordered and how many, as a very kind of exploratory look at things. And then outside this app, I could build a model of some sorts to, could be that the app could serve as a window to run a prediction model on. Something to that effect. And then have easy ways of kind of logging the usage of the app, and then styling the app to look pretty, pretty nice with BSLib. So I feel like there's a lot we could do here, but I want to make sure I give a good searching for other great sites that you all have been recommending to me in the Discord, so that I can have some backup plans if this set does not work out. So I'm gonna go in reverse order here. Let's see, where did I? Or actually, yeah, I'm gonna see. Yeah, so Daniel, you recommended this interesting site about the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Sorry, I'll get the dark mode back on here. Let's zoom into this. So what do we have here? So, okay. Presents over 5,000 years of art from around the world. Oh, that's pretty cool. That has been treasury information on 470,000 artworks. Everything's Creative Commons, that's nice. And it's got its own API for it, which is something that we are going to cover in the courses. Interacting with APIs from Shiny itself, whether it's an API I build or something that is something that's off the shelf. Let me see what their GitHub has here. Okay, so the images are not included. That might be a bit of a wrinkle here. There's a CSV of the entire file. Yep, exactly. That explains the license. Let's kind of see what is actually in this set. If there's like a data dictionary of sorts, we can at least kind of look at this in GitHub a little bit. Oh, it's LFS, so that's huge, right? Well, we could at least download it. Take a look here. No, I did not want to. Oh, I didn't right click it, did I? Save link as. Alright, go to my folder we're in now. Just tossing everything in this prototyping folder. Okay, 296 megabyte. Yeah, that's definitely hefty. Let's load it up. I'm gonna make a new script for this. Type it in there. Or what do we call this? Metropolitan Museum of Art. The read R, read CSV. Throw this in. What did I call this? Met objects.csv. Let's see what happens here. Oh, it's chugging. It's chugging. Uh-oh. This could be messier. Let's see. One or more parsing issues. Let's see what problems tells us. Oh, we are. Only 5 issues. Expected double or expected a character actual. I don't know what that really means, but keep that in mind. Let's take a look at what we have here at high level. This one might need a janitor package to clean things up. Well, we got a lot going on here. So about 477,000 or almost 478,000 rows, 54 columns. We got a lot happening here. Yeah, this definitely is pretty rich with some content here. Yeah, we should. Okay, that's a good point. We should look at all the rows with actual data in every column. Yep. Thanks for coming over. I'm probably gonna say wrong in pneumatocyst. But yeah, thanks for coming by. I hope you come back again sometime. Okay, yeah, let's explore this a bit. I forgot, is a complete... Is that a base R function? Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do this quickly here. Yeah, I thought the tidyr package might have that. Let's give that a shot. Let's load our packages here. Alright, let's give that a shot. Tidyr. Drop. I don't think that has it. Oh, maybe it's a dplyr. Let's see if dplyr has it. Oh, okay, let's take a look. Maybe it's called something different. Oh, drop underscore NA. Oh, okay, let's try that for tidyr. I've not used that before. Whoops. Nah, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. No rows with complete. Yeah, that's an epic fail. So I think some of those values are probably just never populated, but I'm wondering if there's any kind of data dictionary that we can look at here. Maybe I glossed over it when we were looking at the other page here. I'm not as concerned about the API right now. I want to know kind of what the oh, okay, this is kind of like a dictionary with the API endpoints.
Who's ready for story time with our podcast, baby?
Oh, yeah, I got a couple. Oh, where do I begin with this one? This is not even so much an R thing or a work thing. This is like a snapshot of the chaos that can ensue when you have angry kids. So... Oh, you want the rhino? Oh, you want that, huh? Yeah, that... You know what? Yeah, maybe it is rhino time after all. Okay. Well, I'll give you a 2 for 1. Okay, I'll give you a 2 for 1. I don't think I have it loaded on my computer here, but I have 2 kids. One of them has a wee bit of a temper when he doesn't get his way, and we were trying to tell him that, you know, you need a little break from the computer, and you go exercise a bit, or you can look at something together, we can read, we can, you know, work on something fun. He was not happy about it, and when he doesn't get happy about it, he's just kind of bouncing around the place and kind of, I don't want to say throwing things, but he's kind of grabbing stuff and things. And I thought things were still kind of under control. He was just whining a little bit. In our living room right next to our kitchen, there's kind of an open, it's kind of an open layout, so you can kind of see where this stuff is. And there's a TV there, and there's a table there, and a couch, and I thought he was just being a little cranky, so I was trying to work on something with my work laptop up there. Then he really started whining about getting his hands on his little computer I built for him. And he was mad that I did not have it enabled that he could log into it, because there are times I have to disable login when he's on here a bit too much. He kept getting mad about that, and then little did I know until I looked over that he was kind of bouncing up and down on this table that we have in the center of the room. It's a flat glass on a wood frame, and after about the fourth bounce, shatter. Table completely broke. A table that I've had for, yes, a glass table. A glass table. I can't believe I'm actually laughing about this a bit, because this was not funny when this happened. No, they don't make any sense. The worst part was he was trying to act like it happened on its own, and I watched it. His little brother's across the room. He saw the whole thing. He was as shocked as I was. Had to spend the next hour cleaning up the broken shards, disposing of it anyway before they got their hands on it. And he was gonna try and pick it up. I was like, no, you better stay away here. The last thing I need to do is take you to the ER for, stitches, because you want to pick this up with your bare hands. So we had just put that table back up, because we've actually hidden it for a while, because when they were little, there's no way I was going to have a glass thing around when they're running around. And I thought, what, at ages 9 and 5, they should be able to know to be careful around that. But yeah, they weren't careful a couple days ago, or he wasn't anyway. So honestly, my wife and I are still kind of processing how we really handle this, because that's kind of a big deal when you break a glass table. Luckily, he's fine. He didn't get injured. It's kind of a miracle he didn't get injured, because that could have easily cut him up badly. But he's a lucky guy, and that's now the third, I would say, semi-major thing he's broken because he was mad about something. So that's definitely a pattern we got to work on. But I had given him an old laptop that I kind of had from work before, and they forgot about. It's an old HP laptop that I threw Linux on just to give him something to play with. And I remember there was one time he was mad about Minecraft crashing, because the laptop admittedly wasn't that spec'd well, but it was fine if you don't do anything crazy in Minecraft. When you started doing the crazy stuff, putting mods on there and all this jazz, it was slowing up the memory and it would stall out a bit. He got so mad at one point, he literally punched the screen as hard as he could, and yeah, that thing broke too. So he's no stranger to breaking glass either, apparently. So that one bit the dust. So we got some issues to deal with, but that was an unexpected development a couple of days ago, and yeah, so I wish I recorded how I looked at the time this happened, because I think I was so shocked I was literally speechless for a minute. And then I had to go into action like, okay, Eric, pick yourself up. You got to clean this up before anybody goes to the ER. So I had to quickly scramble, and my poor wife's in a important work meeting, so she's not seeing any of this. And then I sent her the picture on her phone, because I just said I had to get evidence of this in case we need to refer to this later on. Oh, goodness gracious. So, yeah, anybody got advice on dealing with tempers, send me a note, because I could use it. That's not something I really had growing up. I mean, yeah, nobody's life is perfect, but I never was that mad at things. My wife's a very easygoing person, so we don't know where this is coming from, but that's the life of a parent sometimes. And truth be told, yeah, you don't want to break tables, but it's just an object. It's not like a life, you know. Of course, I'm glad he's okay, but it's the principle of the thing that has me a little concerned a bit. So yeah, that's just a snapshot of some of the crazy stuff I deal with. Okay, let's go back to this for a second. Let's just sample some data from here, and then we'll kind of go from there. Actually, since this is already in memory, I can just look at it myself. Let's do that. Probably should have just done a sample of it. I got greedy again. Yeah, 477,000 rows. It's easy to do that sometimes. Sometimes these are just quick things and then not realize you're about to hog the memory. Okay, here it goes. It's slowly coming up here. Come on. Yeah, this is an HTML viewer of table data and VS Code, and it definitely does not like this many rows. Yeah, we're gonna close that up. We're gonna do the sample thing. Let's be nice. Let's be nice. Close a slice. What was it? Sample slice or slice sample? No, slice sample. Yep. Ah, can't see my own screen. Let's just do $100 this time. Oh, yeah, I forgot the end again. Bad habit. Alright. Okay, that's better. Yep. Okay, so we got apartments, object name, at the title, that's definitely the more informative. Okay, so culture is populated for some of them, but not everyone. Period is not applicable to everything. Dynasty, oh, that's definitely applicable to older artwork. Artist display name. Artist display bio. Okay, alphabetical. Nationality. Definitely some messy data here where you got like this begin date and end date separated by pipe characters, so that's a thing. Why would Daniel's laying the gauntlet down? You still stand by this? It's something cool to use, and if I don't use it, you will. Well, you know, I'm not opposed to it. Now I'll spread a little awareness about one thing. If we go back to my archive of the Shiny Dev series, not for promotion purposes, but just art is not something that's new to what I've been talking to people about, because one of my previous guests, David Barkemeyer, he has an app called My Paintings that was part of the Shiny contest. Let's take a look at it. I'll give you a feel for what this has. Okay, where's the app link? Hopefully it's still up. I don't think he's hosting on Shiny Apps.io, but he's got a dark mode toggle here too. So it obviously isn't doing too much, you know, in terms of surfacing additional information, but if you want to, you know, click on one of these, you can expand it like this, so you get the full view of the artwork, and then you can do that and get the info. So yeah, this is definitely something that could be expanded upon, or getting. Now, what he was demonstrating here is a way for people to kind of act like they're buying artwork through Shiny, and they're kind of trading it around. They already had a user table and stuff. So it's a pretty neat idea. But yeah, there's definitely precedence for possibly doing a Shiny app that surfaces, you know, artwork like this. So I'm intrigued by it. Trust me, I'm definitely intrigued by it. So it's definitely a contender in terms of what I'm thinking about for the workshop. Yeah, as Unicorn Coder, you are definitely seeing kind of what I'm seeing. There's definitely gonna have to be some cleanup here. You can see, like, in gender, I'm not. Now again, I'm literally just asking out of curiosity. What would 2 versus 1 mean here? Or, like, I don't know if this is, like, I don't even know what that's about. But there are other things. Object date, medium, dimensions, region. Looks like that's definitely not populated for everything. Classification. Okay. And yeah. It's certainly something that's going to need a little more baking, if you will, a little more cleaning up if I'm gonna use that. So that's the one thing that worries me a little bit, is I'm gonna have to really put some effort into getting this ready for the workshop, because it looks like there's a few things I'm gonna have to kind of explore a bit. But so, like I said, certainly a contender, so we will keep that in mind. So I should probably start writing up some of this somewhere. Let me first save this in my folder. Data.r. Okay, you want to count the artists here. Oh, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's see, artist name. I think I need to put this in the fix here. Oops. Yeah, artist display name. And let's sort it out. Yeah. Boy, that NA's a popular person, isn't he or she or it? Oh gosh, that's crazy. But Walker Evans. This shows you how unhip I am to art. I have no idea who that is. Don't hate me. But I know what this is. This is interesting. I'm not sure if any of you know this, but Topps is one of the leading, you know, sports card manufacturers. So how the heck are they on here? That's intriguing. I almost want to filter on that just to see what that's about. Topps? With baseball cards? So let's explore that. Yeah, sorry, it's angry me. Pops Chewing Gum Company. What do we got there? My gosh, 2,000. What? Okay, let's save that as an object and let's explore that. Yeah. Well, it looks like Daniel, one of us is going to be using this for sure. So if it was you or me, we're getting some free content here. So let's do that. Drawings. Oh, so this even had well. Yeah, I will do the queen names in a little bit. That's a good point. But I'm laughing because I actually grew up kind of collecting some of this stuff. Wasn't like my favorite thing to do, but my dad got me into it a little bit. So I do have baseball card sets and others. So I didn't realize that they were considering that artwork. Because at least when I was growing up, they were actual photos of the players. They just put them on baseball cards. So that's, that is really surprising. Oh, I know baseball pretty well. I recognize a lot of these names. I mean, of course, Mickey Mantle, one of the most, impactful Yankees of all time. Jackie Robinson, of course, Sandy Koufax. Yeah, I recognize all of these. So that's intriguing. That is definitely intriguing. So it's definitely starting to come together. What you're saying, Daniel, is that once you get this data and you have like an inkling of like what you want more information of, you could easily use the API to query that and serve it up when the user's in there or in the app to grab something. So this is definitely intriguing here. Classification prints, but again, we got some cases where we have a double categories. Yeah. Okay. Tags, Wikidata. Again, they kind of pipe the multiple values, so there's a lot of like per action that would need to happen there with like map, collapsing or separating. Okay. Yeah, this is there's definitely content that can be generated from this. Yeah, I recognize a lot of those names at the top for sure. But yeah, this is definitely something interesting here. Okay. Let me look at this website a bit more before I go too much further here. So let me go back to that section where I talked about the images. Open access page. So you have to request an image for those under copyright. Okay. Now, of course, the easy thing to do, we could try to filter for those that we know are in the public open access kind of domain. Say In fact, maybe this. Is there a way to do that from the API? Let me duplicate this. Let's see anything about images here. Okay. Aha. Okay, primary image. That's what we want. Okay, what was this from? The object. Is that in our data already? Let's see. Sort of names. Let's see anything with image here. Object ID is in the data. Okay. Yeah, object ID. Okay. So then, what this is getting at is that we have the object ID. We can use the API to get information. Now, do I have anything about public domain in this? Yeah, okay, so we have this public domain. We have a filter for that. We have the Wikidata URL. Was the Now I didn't see primary image here. Yeah, I get what you mean. So like we would just have to call this to get the response back, because only the API is going to give us these things. We don't have that in the CSV that we just downloaded. So we got to use the API to get the images. So that's an interesting exercise. There is in your app, you don't want to hit that API all the time for all the records, because that's a DDoS waiting to happen and probably get banned. So yeah, that's an interesting case of like how do you serve that up effectively? And out to actually, that's kind of interesting. Going back to David's example from his Shiny contest, is how did he manage the images? Did he have those cached, or did he? In fact, let's see if we can look. It's been so long since I had to talk with him. I honestly forgot how he handled that. Let me see if there's anything here that. So he downloaded them, but he didn't put them in the repo. All paintings from the web gallery of art. Okay. Okay. So that's one approach, is you get the images ahead of time, and then you just serve it up, without too much of a problem. So yeah, there's a couple ways to handle this. We have we can start with a small set just to get things going, And that we could just grab the images ourselves first, or we could grab them in the app. That would be more manageable. So that's kind of what you're getting at, Unicorn Coder, having like a set of open art already ready to go, and it's just a sample of the entire set. So that is certainly something, but I do see the value of extending this where I could still load this data in a database of like this high level information, but then when the user wants to get more information on it, we can interrogate that with the API. So let's I got some bookmarking to do here before we go too much further here. Whoops, where's my repo? Okay. I have a new contender. What do I call this? Data.
Who's ready for story time with our podcast?
Oh yeah, we should. I mean, gosh, I would love to have like the old gaming adventures with you all. Make me think back to the arcades. You don't want to tackle me in Street Fighter 2. I'm telling you, I will mop you up. I spent many hours on that. Suppose. Let me say API specs. Let's get that link in here. CSV. Go. These data will need a bit of cleaning and munging to prepare for eventual application, but there are quite a few concepts that we can illustrate effectively here, such as executing APIs on demand, hosting database, custom theming, okay, looks good to me. We'll comment that. So these other two that I had here, I did look at them a little bit after I put this issue on. I don't think they're quite worth it for the workshop. I remember back when RStudio announced that they were becoming a public benefit corporation, I wanted to get my hands on that data and see if I can make a lot of sense of it, but unfortunately there's just not much I can do with it. Still an interesting exercise, but I think it's just not quite worth the workshop. So I think it is going to be, we got in one corner the grocery Instacart, the other corner Museum of Art. So not sure if I'll be able to make a call on that specifically tonight, but at least now I can kind of tunnel vision onto those two and see where that takes us. Yep. I admit it's kind of nice that I can get some inspiration already from one of my guests on the dev series, so there's some nice little continuity there. if I go with the art route. I can definitely get some ideas from that and give him full credit for it, of course. But it kind of pays to be able to talk to cool people about these things and actually get it on recording. So I'll watch that episode again just to refresh my memory a bit about his setup for all that. So okay, so I'm probably gonna go for probably about 20 or so more minutes, and I think with that, there's a certain package that I think we can take a look at. That is the Rhino art package. Oh, Tan is back. Was that the story time for? Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, I do. Oh, gosh, yeah. Silly me. I don't know if I can top a table breaking. Any other chaos that happened at day job recently. It's kind of boringish. Way, in a good way, of course. No utter chaos there. Well, I'll tell a little bit behind the scenes about the Shiny workshop, the Shiny conference that I just attended. So it was very cool to be part of all 3 days in one way, shape, or form. The panel discussions were very fun, and during the keynote panel, which had Joe Chang and Winston Chang and Philip from Appsilon, we were taking questions from the audience, and I suspected one of these questions would come out about, hey, what's the future plans with Shiny in the near term? I did get a little bit of information that something really, really big is about to happen in that front. But Joe and Winston were very much keeping things close to the vest and not revealing much. I did try to prod a little bit, and at least I prodded a little bit that it sounds like a lot of this stuff is going to be revealed at our studio conf. I am very, and I mean very, intrigued by what this could be, if any of the rumors are true. It could be massive for the adoption of Shiny, but I think those are all just rumors at this point. But I'm really excited to see where that goes. But I greatly enjoyed their perspective on things, and both the keynote panel and the consulting panel, where I've had each of them as previous guests before, and I gave them like a few questions I was going to ask, but the things that were not seeded by me or put in the doc that I review with them were things that I have been championing for a while, and I did not tell them to say this, but every one of them said you better use modules for your Shiny apps. So I was like, yes, I'm the module cheerleader, but I didn't have to tell them that. They just all said, if there's one thing you take away from this panel discussion, it's use modules. So that was a good time. But they had some good advice too. So the recordings should be out in a couple weeks, and that particular one will be on my Shiny Dev Series channel once we get through the editing of that. But I enjoyed every minute of it. This is one of the best conferences I've attended, just from a attendee perspective. They really did a nice job. So hopefully they do it again. But there were a lot of great talks, and I couldn't see all of them because they would start really early in the morning for our friends on the other side of the pond. But then I would get up and have this on while I'm cooking breakfast, and then had to quickly scramble to get ready for either the panel discussion or my super ridiculous over-the-top presentation about my Shiny racing game exploits. So that was but that was with Quarto though, so Quarto definitely was fun to build with that. Yep, but yeah, apparently it's nice to know that Tan, you're joining me on that train about modules, and yep, marketing to a friend that it took me a long time to grok them. It took all of us a long time to grok modules. You are not alone in that at all. And really, it wasn't until that I had the opportunity to give that presentation at rstudio conf back in 2018 or 2019. That it really started to make sense to me. But before that, no, it didn't. There's a lot under the hood that I just wasn't ready for until I prepared that particular talk. And Joe's advice is really what kind of cinched it for me. And now obviously I can't live without it. So in the workshop, there will definitely be content about modules in there for sure. So. But yeah, the other funny bit, if you will, or ironic bit in the keynote panel, and again, this is all not prompted by me beforehand, especially for that panel. I literally just said, we're taking questions from the community. I might throw some surprises here and there, but somehow my industry, life sciences, just organically became a hot topic in that keynote panel. And some of the audience was saying, like, why is Shiny so popular there? And I was very careful to let Joe and Winston take a crack at that first, but then they let me chime in, and that's where I worked in my story time lingo there. So that was a lot of fun to talk about that. But it is kind of weird to me still that Shiny seems most synopsis or the most attention it gets is from my compatriots over in life sciences. So who knows why, but that's just the way it's been shaken up. All right. So yeah, but overall the conference was awesome, and so glad it was virtual. That we all from everyone around the world could attend that. And yeah, the racing talk, I did have fun flexing my racing prowess there. I couldn't resist, but my Linux friends won't hold it against me. We're gonna do it again someday once that company gets their act together and make online play working again. That's right, Tan. I did see the email, and probably Daniel, you know this too. They want us to start booking our travel arrangements, so I got to start getting on that. I was halfway debating about a couple months ago, should I actually try driving there, because it'd be about an 8-hour drive, but I'm probably not. I'm probably gonna fly there, especially since yeah, I think Tan, you're in this situation too. I think rstudio is paying for it, so we're, at least for us, it probably makes more sense too. But yeah, but at least they're taking care of the hotel arrangements, so I don't have to deal with that. It's just more about the flight. We have to actually get it booked ourselves, and then they'll reimburse us, it sounds like. So but yeah, that's happening. That is happening. So yeah, I plan to get there hopefully that afternoon of that Sunday, so that I'm there in plenty of time for the orientation of the workshop instructors and get all the tech set up. But yeah, that's when the action starts. So yeah, getting down to crunch time. So. Okay, so with a little bit of time we have left, I'm gonna get my getting to know what was one of the hotter topics at the conference last week is the Rhino package. So I actually in the episode of the highlights podcast, so you'll hear tomorrow morning. I still have to edit that, by the way, so that's why I probably won't be here that much longer. It was Rhino and Shiny Test 2 that were the major points from the conference that Mike and I talk about. So this is software engineering take on scaffolding shiny apps, the Appsilon way they call it. So probably born out of the consulting work they've done. So let's see. Let me just kind of read through this a little bit. But much now, the inevitable question is, especially those that know me, are going to wonder, okay, well, how does this compare to Golem? Like, it's not about which is better. It's just how similar are they? How different are they? What are the trade-offs here? But there are obviously some similarities here. They are both opinionated frameworks. They both have their ideas of best practices, take care of the repetitive stuff, unified architecture, automate existing parts. But then why do you actually want to use it? Organizing a big app into different structures or hierarchies, nested files, that's hugely important. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. That's, again, having a unified approach is helpful. A modularized application. Yep, modules. They both love modules. That's no doubt. This is interesting to me. This bit right here is you want to quickly start with a set of pre-configured development tools like linters, CI, Cypress. I should know what that is, but I don't. Logging, JavaScript, and Sass building. Notes the 4-letter Sass, not the 3-letter Sass. Okay, so this is the one I really want to think about here. Is that this is not the only kind of scaffolding project in town, but what is Rhino compared to? So obviously Golem is the one that. Now Rhino, okay, so Rhino apps are not our packages. That was emphasized in the talk. This is more about development tools. I have no idea what Leprechaun is. I have not heard of this. Let's search this. Oh, I know who's behind this. By John. Oh, of course. Okay. How did I miss this? When did this come out? 4 months ago. How did I miss this? Huh, okay. Let's see, I'm just curious what this has here. Alright, dark mode, sorry again. Dark mode in here. Ooh, that was an epic fail for dark mode here. Maybe I'll read it later, I know that's blinding people. But okay, well, I'll look at that later, but I didn't realize that was something here. Dark mode back on. And DevTools and use this are not specific to Shiny, but I think they have some principles that are in play here. Well, let's live dangerously. Let's give this a spin, even if it's just toy stuff, just to kind of see what we're about here. I'm gonna throw it in here. May not end up version controlling it. So I'm gonna get a few things here, it looks like. Yeah, okay, let me put a link to that in the chat. Thank you, Unicorn Coder. This is it right here, coming in the chat shortly. There we go. Alright, back to VS Code here. Okay, so let's see what the in-app documentation or in-package documentation looks like. Let's clear this out. Alright, so for Rhino here. Create a Rhino app. Okay. Now one thing is that I think it tries to do RM on its own. I need to be careful about that in this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a temp directory somewhere outside of this somewhere outside the workspace here. Alright, let's try this. Rhino and net. Actions be added, Rhino version. Oh, I just gotta build this default to see what happens here. Wow, let's look at this. Let's look at this. So, it did its own spin on RM. That's definitely RM, the messages there, so it must have done some scaffolding on its own. Did the update to the log file on its own. Okay, I'm missing some real heavy stuff, it looks like, in the chat. I need to catch up on this. Daniel's doing his own story time here, it looks like, about your previous days in the labs. Ooh, sounds like you had a rough time there. Oh, ouch. I am. Wow. Okay, that. Oh, wow. I had no idea. I had no idea at all what kind of hard time you had there. Wow. Well, I'm glad everything worked out, but that stinks. That's. You know what's ironic is actually this is a bonus story time, folks, so buckle up, but many years ago, probably about 7-8 years ago, I'm still fairly new to my day job, and they had put me into a situation where I was analyzing some newer type of data that I did not have a lot of exposure to in the past. So it's like genetic, proteomic, and microarray biomarker data, and I knew enough to do a pretty good job. But then our director of our stats group in that particular disease area had hired somebody new to the company, but who was supposed to come with a bunch of experience in genetic analyses and everything like that. So they start to put him on my projects, and I thought, okay, we're just going to collaborate, we'll share ideas. And this person was somebody that basically tried to treat me like, kind of like what happened to you a little bit here, Daniel, is somebody that was kind of being bossed around, being told conflicting information on what I was responsible for. Really, in essence, trying to kind of treat me like somebody that was way beneath them, and his tone around me was very kind of degrading, treating me very low, like I was just some lowly student, even though I've been with the company for a few years already. It was pretty toxic, to be honest. Like, it was my first real rough, and I mean rough situation where I was figuring out, well, I never asked for this, but yet this person's kind of treating me this way. I'm trying to make the best of it, but then he's trying to get all the credit for the work that I had done most of it myself, and then he was acting like he did all of it. And then making me do some odd things that end up being dead ends for an analysis kind of hypothesis and everything. And yeah, I actually started dreading going to the office during this time because I knew this person's gonna harass me behind a closed door, but yet when we're outside, everything acts like everything's just peachy. And I remember at some point I had to tell my supervisor that I was having big problems with this. My supervisor wasn't as in tune into like this type of work. But then he put me in touch with a very, I'll call a very firm, no nonsense, like tell it like it is person that came from this domain that wasn't on my specific projects at this point, but he did come on board and said, you know what? I heard everything you're saying. I don't agree with what's happening to you at all. We're going to fix this. He said, I'm going to start attending these meetings. I'm going to start getting more details on what this person's working on. And we're going to put this to the test. And so he started attending our joint meetings with the scientists and everything. And I could tell the tone was starting to change a bit by this bad person. He was starting to change his tune a little bit, but then this other supervisor that was helping me through all this, he put the bad person on some projects just to kind of get a feel for what he was really capable of. And to make a longer story short, he royally messed up a very, very important pre-specified analysis for one of our trials with not getting the right data or running the completely wrong analysis, not getting the analysis methods documented in time for our data logs. And after that mess up, guess what? He went bye-bye. He was canned after that, and my life got a lot better. But I didn't have to, like, you know, be a part of that particular piece of it. He did it to himself, but I will, like, at the time I was struggling with, should I speak up about this? Am I just being somebody that's too sensitive about this? But honestly, if you take away nothing else from what I'm saying, is that when you're dealing with a kind of a, you know, a mentally, you know, draining, you might say toxic situation, find help. Don't live with that yourself. It will drive you nuts. It'll drive your personal life nuts. I just didn't know what else to do, but luckily I had support at that time to fix the situation. So when I read your little your story time in the chat there, Daniel, it gave me a lot of vibes of that experience, and it stinks. This should not happen, but unfortunately it's always going to happen to some people. But it's about getting the right support system and knowing when to speak up and when you've had enough to stand up for yourself. So I stood up for myself, and now that person's long gone. Now I'm on completely different projects, but that's more of a coincidence. But it was one of the harder lessons I had to learn was to deal with some of the bad apples, as you say, as people say in these. But yeah, it was like the drive to work felt like it was 2 hours instead of 1 on those mornings. And then when I was sitting at my desk, it was almost like that feeling of impending dread of like, when's this person gonna come over? When's this person gonna throw me under the bus again for something that I did all the work of, but he's gonna take the credit for, or treat me like some underling of a glorified, you know, minute taker, note taker person. Like it was rough. So I'm glad that we're in better days now. Like both you and me, Daniel, in our different ways are in a much better spot now. So definitely hope that you don't get any of those bad memories flooding through. But that was, yeah, those are real. That's the real life, huh? So. Now, I realize that for this little prototyping, I should do it in a slightly different way. I'm going to show what that means here. Because in VS Code, I'm probably going to royally mess this up, so I'm going to use RStudio for this. So let's, gosh, too many windows. Let's create here. Alright, new window coming through. Alright, my super secret password. It's not test, by the way. Haha, that's an inside joke for my Linux friends. Okay, so you can see, let me resize the window here a bit. Okay. Let me restart the R session. We should have Rhino there already. Let's do that. In fact, we should be able to use Rhino's built-in scaffolding for new projects. So let's close this. Oh no, you should go to bed, Daniel. You need your sleep, and that's where I'm gonna be there in a little bit too. I just want to try creating one of these from scratch, and then I will... Whoops, not that. New project. Should be a shiny... So not a Rhino feature here? Oh, I thought there was. No? Oh, okay. That's bizarre. Maybe I don't have enough packages in here. That's okay. Well. Oh, I know why. I know why. I'm a doofus. I know why. I need to go back in here. I had to do it from here. Long story. There it is. Okay. Okay, let me make a new directory before I go too much further. Our fancy terminal here. See if that will work. Alright, have a good night, Daniel. Thanks for coming over as always. And for the new data set. So that was a great opportunity for me to look at. So alright, let's try to create that. Let's see. Okay, we're in the Rhino app. Alright, let's see what we got here. Okay, let's have a look at what Rhino does. Okay, good point number one. We got the config file, YAML format, similar to what Golem does, to set the defaults. What's this Rhino YAML? SAS and Node? I don't know what that means yet. We're gonna look at that eventually. And RM Vic. Oh, interesting. Okay, so, so this dependencies trick is actually a really cool trick that even Rhino uses to track the package dependencies. Because again, Rhino apps are not packages, so there's no description file here. But this is where you put the library statement of the package you want to use in your app to make sure that when you deploy it, or that RM in general can pick it up. So interesting. Oh, but they're, oh wait, no, I take it back. It's, okay, anyway. Let's see what's in the app folder here. We got some JavaScript. It's empty for now. I'm sure that can be populated. Logic. What does this say? Interesting. So, okay, so this is the place where you might put your business logic that doesn't fit like in Shiny itself. Let's see what static is. So that's an icon that's like static. Styles. Oh, there's our SAS file if you want to customize that. What's view? View Shiny modules and related code. Let's take a look at the URL here and see what that gives us. Application structure. Let's get our dark mode here. Okay, so again, another kind of similarity in a slightly different way with Golem is that Golem will help you write certain files that kind of mimic the business logic notation or a module notation or, you know, other utilities. Appsilon's take on this is that they'll give you these subdirectories where you throw these different scripts to accomplish either the business logic code, they're calling that app logic here, or the view that describes the user interface and depends on, okay. So you could put your module scripts in there, and then the app.r is you don't edit that directly, you have a main.r file. What does that look like? Okay. Let's run this app. Let's see what happens. Let's just close some of this out here. Let's run it. Yeah, very boring. A little hello message, but it definitely runs. That's always a good sign. Out of the box, you get a running app, very minimal. Whoops. Now this is an interesting take. They use they wrote a package called Box. Oh, not they, another package called Box. Writing modular code. Okay, interesting. Yeah, good night, Unicorn Coder. Thanks for coming by, and thanks for all your help with the website too. And I'm really looking forward to seeing your take on the data set as well. So lots of fun to be had there. Okay, so the use of Box, this package called Box, is definitely different than what Golem is doing. This is kind of like getting some benefits of packages for writing your code in a modular way, but that it lets you import just what you maybe need minimally for certain pieces. I've never actually used this before, so I'm very intrigued by this. So box use, box hello world, and then you can grab the function from that namespace. Huh. Okay, that is a bit different. So you can't use library source functions in your app anymore. You have to use the box framework for it. Okay. So that's the biggest adjustment, is we got to use the box package to import code, it looks like. That is interesting. Okay. Oh, that's what that file was doing. This, the rmvignor file, which we saw over here. This is saying only use the dependencies.r file to infer everything. That's actually, I like that idea, because then you could have these other areas in your app that you could use for, you know, prototyping stuff, and you're not going to mess things up. So that's something I'll have to pursue a bit later. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so you have to bring Node.js yourself in your environment to be able to take advantage of these functions. Okay. Okay, so they both take this approach. In the YAML files, you can specify different environments. So they both share that principle. Okay. Okay, so seeing some patterns here. The box package is kind of like their bridge to getting some of the benefits of what having your app as a package could give you without necessarily being in the package. But you still have to kind of train yourself and any developers on your team to understand how to use some of that. So it's still some skills that are needed to effectively use that. Yeah, namespace management, exactly, Tan. It's another take on it, and I'm actually pretty intrigued by it. I did not know as much about this box package as now it's becoming a critical component of how Rhino works here. And you hit something there. It's from a style similar to what Python or other computer science kind of namespacing logic would look like. And maybe, now again, this is just my take on this, maybe that's something where Rhino might be something that's more approachable to somebody who's getting into R but is coming from a different framework in web development. Like you say, either JavaScript or maybe even a Python, framework. I could see how somebody coming from a different background that doesn't know R very well and doesn't know enough about R packages very well from a development standpoint might get intimidated by Golang. Whereas this, if they understand kind of how to get onboarded with this, it may be easier for them to get up and running with a Rhino app. It's starting to kind of crystallize in my head of what the key differences are. I'm generally pleased with what I'm reading so far. This is very intriguing to me. The one little con I have so far is that anything requiring JavaScript or Sass is going to require Node.js on the user system. Whereas for other Shiny apps or Golem-powered apps, I can just rely on the browser's JavaScript stuff to run any custom JavaScript. So again, maybe in today's age it's not that difficult. I just remember that having some pain getting a right version of Node installed on our Works HPC installation, and finally our Linux team helped me out with getting a better version of it. So that might be a pain point for some people. But maybe again, if you're coming from those frameworks, you know how to handle that very well. So it may not be as big of a deal. Let's see, anything else interesting here? This is intriguing to me. Oh, okay, so they say you could pull off having multiple apps in a single repo, but you've got to adjust how the CI works inside it. Okay. Okay. Okay, so Tan, you're saying you like all these things in here, but for you, it's like the logic of your app should be an R package, but then you plop a UI on top of it, and that's a very good pattern to have, right? Is that if your business logic is so intricate and complicated, like what I've done at work quite a bit, where we have these very complex simulation packages using Bayesian methods, using all sorts of different methods, we're able to develop that independently in a separate repo and then bundle that up as a package And then my main app just simply references that in the execution phase of it. Much like the API stuff we were talking about. Your API is totally separate somewhere, but your Shiny app is just calling that, and having a dedicated package with some of the analytical logic gives you that same flexibility. Whereas honestly, for both Golem and Rhino, they're still kind of expecting that the developer is going to want to put all this in one place, but they're going to organize it in the ways that they're both pushing here. So I think that's a design choice that, a development choice that needs to be made pretty early on in the process, so that you can tailor the rest of your development accordingly. And there's always benefits and trade-offs to those approaches. I mean, certainly when you're early on in an app, it can be a little annoying to switch to like developing the business logic package, compiling that, update the version, then go back to your app project and then re-import it in and then try things out. There's definitely trade-offs to it, but there are many benefits as well. But this is I think my biggest nugget in looking at this tonight, that Rhino has, again, its own opinionated nature of it, but they're taking this opinionated structure very, very much inspired by other web development frameworks and packaging, philosophies. Golem is trying to take the best practices of actual package development, bolt that on the Shiny, and give you some of those extra benefits that you would get when you just create a normal package and just put a Shiny spin on it. Very, very interesting, the dichotomy there. But it's another win for choice here. People have choices now, so that's really interesting here. But I do like your train of thought about having the separation of the analytical logic, business logic from the app future-proofs you in many ways. I think the key is just getting buy-in from your development team to commit to that early on, before it gets too out of control. I've definitely done it both ways. Like, I definitely have done this both ways, but for my biggest app at work, we definitely have a separate package for the business logic part, because it makes things so much easier for us to not only make the development more streamlined, but then for the power users that honestly don't really like my app very much, they want to do the same thing but just outside the app, they can just boot up that package and do whatever the heck they want, and then they don't have the nice UI on top of it, but they get all the back-end stuff and the documented functions and everything. So I think for major situations or highly complex situations, that pattern is still a very valuable way to construct it. So I feel like now, after going through this for the last 20 or so minutes, I think I get the intent of Rhino, and I think I have enough to get back to this very trusted colleague that wants to know my take on it, give us good feedback. So certainly congratulations to our friends at Appsilon for getting Rhino out the door and having the great reception at the Shiny conference last week, and I will definitely give it a try on a future project to get some more exposure to it. So yeah, looking solid from what I've seen, and I could get the template app up and running without any issue at all. Yep, just simple hello, but it's all there. So very, very cool. All right, that may be one of my longest streams in a long time, and this time it was not about debugging. Not like that Docker stream from many months ago where I was literally for an hour and a half debugging a very cryptic naming space issue or whatever that was. Yeah, and this was by choice. I wasn't forced into it for fixing something right at the last minute. So yeah, key takeaways tonight. We got 2 possibilities of some really cool data to play with for the workshop. One probably needs more preparation than the other, but I feel like there might be more we can do with it versus the Instacart one, which has it pretty well set to go, but I have to really think more critically about how we actually leverage the insights from it. And then, yeah, Rhino definitely looks pretty intriguing, and I think I kind of know what the intent is for that compared to other scaffolding frameworks in the Shiny ecosystem and everything. So, yeah, we'll keep pressing forward with all that. But thank you everybody for joining who's actually still stuck around. For those who left earlier, obviously, thanks for coming, and I'll get the VOD out hopefully soon. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it. I'm just going to throw it out there and see what happens. And I'll also get the next our weekly highlights out tomorrow morning as well. So back to the editing, the framework there. So if you want to see more of what I'm up to, yeah, definitely follow the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Shiny Developer Series. Check out the ShinyDevSeries.com website itself. And yeah, our weekly highlights still going. We're going strong, and we got some fun ideas ahead for that. So you all have a great night. No raid for me because I gotta get to the editing floor for our weekly podcast. But then thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week. So take care, and bye for now.